In the previous video, we were designing the roles pages on the admin section. So in this video, we are going to move on to the next item and we will be designing the permissions pages on the admin section. So these two look very similar. If you go to the add role or the create role page, you will see that it has the name and the description. And when you open the permissions, you will see name and description as well. So we are just going to copy from our roles or pages to get our permissions pages. So let us go to our code base. As usual, I will collapse everything so that we have a clear picture of the directory structure. We are going to create a new folder in the admin folder called permissions. And inside here, we are going to have create.html for the create permissions form and index.html for the manage permissions form. We will open our roles folder and copy all the code inside create.html in the roles folder. And then we paste this inside the create.html in the permissions folder. And then we scroll to the top and modify it to suit permissions. So the title tag is going to read create permissions instead of create roles. The navigation bar will remain the same. The sidebar will remain the same. The form will remain the same. We just need to change the title to be create permissions instead of create role. Create permission instead of create role. And again, the name and the description are the fields on this form, so we'll leave those unchanged. And that will be all for the create permissions page. We will move on now to the manage permissions page. So for this page, we are going to be copying from index.html under the roles folder. So we'll just copy all the code in that file. Copy from index.html in the roles folder, and then we paste it inside index.html in the permissions folder. Let's look at the columns that we have for the permissions table on the finished project. Okay, we have only two columns, the serial numbering and the permissions are the permission name column itself. Okay, I will scroll to the top and make sure the title tag reads manage permissions. The header and the sidebar remain the same, so I will scroll past those. The title of the table is going to be permissions. And the button at the top here is going to read add permission instead of add row. And then the table is going to have just two columns. One of them will be the serial numbering, the other one will be the permission name. I'm going to delete the last two rows on this column. Then we will modify this by removing the last two columns. And then now we'll add a few permissions. So an example of a permission, let us look at the finished project. We have create post, publish post, delete post, create post. We duplicate this table row, okay, and we make it the second item on the table. And then it should be our publish post. We duplicate again. This will represent the third item, and let's call it delete post. Okay, we will leave it at this, and I believe that is all about the manage our permissions page. Let us go to our project and view this page. We just added a new folder called permissions, and let's start with the index.html on this page. Okay, this is what we want. And then the next is we go to the create permissions page. Oops, make sure we go to create.html, and it looks good. So that is all for the permissions pages on the admin section.